Hey guys, we have a very, very cool show today for any of you who are interested in the whole YouTube thing. We have YouTubers from all across the internet, all in one place, answering questions. It's a pretty sweet setup. But before I get to the show, I want to tell you about the sponsor, AudioBlocks. There's a new offer from AudioBlocks. They're giving you a deal on a triple bundle, which is video, audio, and images for the price of just $149. It's an annual subscription. You can go to audioblocks.com/musiciswin to get all the stock video, audio, and images you can imagine for just one low price. That's AudioBlocks, audioblocks.com/musiciswin to save on millions of studio quality clips, tracks, and graphics. Also, a quick note. There's something very exciting happening this week, the week of December 18th, 2017. It could involve some type of release of some epic material. Wonder what it could be. Also, I'd like to congratulate the winner of our Fretboard Friday giveaway, the second iteration, if you will. James Queen is the winner. Congrats, James. I love Scott Pilgrim, and apparently you know that. So please respond to your Twitter DM and get your prize. For the rest of you, there's still time in December to win whatever is left over after James chooses his prize. So feel free to sign up for my email list at musiciswin.com/fretboardfriday, and you will be receiving instructions on how you can enter to win the next giveaway. Now, let me tell you about why this super Marvel Avengers team of YouTubers was brought together. We were invited down by a school in Ontario, Canada called OIRT, which is short for Ontario Institute of Audio Recording Technology. And essentially we were brought in to do YouTube stuff, and whatever happened, happened. So it consisted of myself, Jared Dines, Stevie T, Trey from Gear Gods, Adam Neely, Sarah Longfield, and Glenn Fricker. And it was essentially 2 days of really, really awesome fun and music. You're going to have to wait to see all the cool content that came out of it, but check those YouTube channels in the near future for that. This is sort of a Q&A that we did with the students. The students are learning obviously about recording technology, but also how to make a living or a career out of the internet as a musician. So we did our best to try and answer their questions and give them advice. And I think a lot of you could find it really helpful and cool. Even if you're not looking to be an online musician or something like that, it could give you some inspiration to turn your hobby into a career. Isn't that like a saying for some terrible product? I don't know. But the point is, it was really fun. Thank you so much for OIRT to bring us in. I had a lot of really nice conversations with these YouTubers and the students. And I will let you know the audio quality is not the best. I just set up a little camera mic. We didn't really have a plan to record it, but I was like, hey, this would make a great podcast. So bear with me on that. If you're listening on iTunes, be aware you can also watch the podcast on YouTube. Just type the Music is Win podcast and you will find it. That way you can actually see who's talking, because sometimes it's hard to tell if you're just listening. Anyways, without further ado, this is the YouTuber Roundtable.
Okay, so to make some introductions. Glenn Fricker, Spectrum Media Group. Adam Neely. Tyler Larson, Music is Win. Sarah Longfield. Steve Taylor. Greg Major, Gear Guys. just to start off,
Okay.
with kind of framing, he made a comment to me a couple of weeks ago about kind of like where YouTube is right now in reference to some music industry history. So I kind of wanted him to start off with that analogy just to frame things, and then we'll go to a Q&A.
No pressure. How you doing, everybody? Just don't excuse the coffee and all that. Anyway, so somebody said this to me, and I can't take credit for this, but I thought this was kind of made a lot of sense where we're at right now. Is in the early 20th century, Edison invented the wax cylinder. All they knew is that it could record sound, and nobody knew what it was going to do or how it would change the world, and what they could do with the technology and how they could monetize it. And here we are 100 years later, YouTube's the new wax cylinder. What are we going to do with it?
Wow. Any questions?
All right, see you later.
Let's go.
So I have a really thorough question, kind of. So when you guys started growing your channel in the beginning, and when you really started growing, so for example, in the beginning you have 10, 20 subscribers, but when it picks up, what did you guys do differently? That's really interesting to me.
Interesting. I can say that I think a lot of us here have had a channel for a very, very long time, which is a little bit different than you might think. I mean, you probably might have heard of us because of some cool video or whatever. I got my channel 3 months after YouTube started.
Holy shit.
Yeah, and so I didn't start doing anything different though. I just was posting videos randomly, and occasionally people would share it, but very, very small growth for almost a decade. And then 2 years ago, I started posting regularly, every Monday, no matter what. I would always just post regularly, and that sort of has the algorithm gods have shined on me because YouTube likes that.
What do you think really, besides just consistency, sparked the growth of your channel?
I think it's all over the board. I've worked with a couple different YouTubers, and some of them are super methodical about it. They've got a YouTube a list of videos and super obscure stuff that may or may not be a thing for 6 months. A video a week for 6 months. They have it all laid out. They've got it planned out. They've got a production team, and hours and hours of work goes into it. But then there's others of us that are just I don't know, I'm gonna shoot a video today, and then you spend an entire day or two just shooting it and just kind of randomly.
Yeah, I don't think there's a one-size-fits-all. I do think, though, the spontaneity is important, regardless of how you organize your thoughts. Jared says he does a video, he'll come up with it and then do it and then post it tomorrow, right? So I'm kind of the polar opposite. I have a list of maybe 100 videos, but you can still be spontaneous because you don't necessarily have to do that video in that order, if that makes sense. So you can be I'm feeling a theory lesson today, or I'm feeling a complete psycho goofball video today. So you can still have a spontaneity, but also it's a way to organize your creativity.
I think that ideas are very rarely the problem. I think
Yeah.
all of us just have so many ideas. That'd be cool. A big part of it is just execution, just the work, the actual time that you spend into it. Because you can have a cool idea. Anybody could have a cool idea. It's just, can you actually bring that to fruition? That's that's the hard part.
That's what I was going to ask. Do you guys outsource your video editing? Or, what do you guys outsource?
For me, I'm just way too stubborn for someone else to edit my videos. Yeah. So I'll probably always be editing mine. If I do a video and I'm dancing like an idiot, playing guitar, I've done 50 takes of it. So I don't want someone else to I have to decide which ones. Yeah.
A little bit more in this.
That's 100%.
Watch this one.
Yeah. No,
I've
100%
been
there.
That's how it was when I first.
Yeah.
Yeah, just one thing is just the humor aspect is so much in the editing with the whole thing, and so everybody here just there's a little twinge of that absurdist internet humor, and to trust somebody else with that is just nah. It's a little weird. Yeah.
I can say this for an absolute certainty: if you're editing your own stuff, do this before you start rather than 4 years in like I did. Set your hotkeys up from the get-go. I was editing in Premiere the hard way for so long, and just maybe 3 months ago, one of my video editor interns, who is now my roommate, was like, oh yeah, dude, all you gotta do is you can set everything up here and I was watching him just fly through the editing, and I was like, oh, so many hours of my life.
You were doing a lot of right click, cut.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ripple delete.
Yeah.
No,
Edit. Cut.
Set them all up so that like it's all in your left hand, and it'll take you an eighth of the time.
I think too, I want to add to that, it depends on your workflow and how much content you want to put out as well. If you're doing like Stevie, say you do a video in 2 weeks, yeah, don't be lazy, do your own edits. But if you're doing a video a day, or if you're doing 2 videos a day, like Good Mythical Morning, imagine if those 2 guys did all their own edits. Like, there's no way. You know, so it just depends on what kind of channel you want and what you want to grow into as well.
You think like, oh, I want to get an editor so that I can put out more content, but more is not necessarily better, and I'm a very good example of that. Like I was asking everybody how many videos they have on their channel, and everybody on this panel, their channels are way more popular than mine, and I have I think I have twice as many videos on my channel as anybody else does, and it's like super way too varied. And I think if you edit it yourself, that's probably not true. I just wanted the shotgun approach. But like, if you're editing it yourself, you have to love the thing that you just shot to see it all the way through to the end, and that makes it much more likely that it's going to be really good. And then you have this like one thing that's really good, and you're like, yeah, here it is. Instead of like, bam, 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 and people are like, I don't know what to focus on.
If you love editing, edit your own videos. If you hate it, don't do it. Because then it's going to kill your love for the creativity of what you do.
Yep. Whenever you're doing like artistic stuff or more creative stuff, or like you have a group of people, it's hard to like, you can't be behind the camera and in front of the camera. So sometimes you need a person just to be like, I pressed play. Like, I did the thing, it's recording, that's it. So, yeah.
Yeah, sometimes you just need the movement.
That's
yeah.
what I was kind of asking.
Yeah. For like music videos and stuff, I tripod as much as I can, though.
When I was learning guitar, I never thought I'd have to, like, they were never like, okay, so here's a G chord, and you're going to have to learn a lot about lenses. And I like it. So,
yep.
But
all that's trial and error.
That's
lighting and lenses, like, that's not our niche.
Well, speak for yourself. I did media arts at Sheridan. So yeah, shooting this was like no problem.
Education was cool 20 years ago, man.
That's okay, you were never cool.
He's not wrong.
Jeremy, Jeff, question. Yeah. So for getting started, or like any recommendations, like for us, like
just do it.
Like hardware and software, like what would you recommend?
Don't even worry about that shit.
Yep.
Yeah, I would find something that makes it work, because that honestly, I just started filming just with iMovie, and then I was like, oh, Final Cut, and that is all I can handle for editing. For a camera, get something cheap. A DSLR is not super expensive, but even just your phone, if you're in the beginning, just start doing it. No matter, just go, like, don't have any pretense and don't have any expectations for what it will be or become. Just start. Yeah, there's no other way around it, I think.
I think it's much more important to develop your voice, so to speak, and that only happens by making videos. And even if you have a $50,000 camera, if your content sucks, then nobody's going to watch it.
There's plenty of that.
If you have to really, I mean, gear is, I would say the 3 pillars of somebody needs to focus on starting out is the consistency, the quality, and the authenticity. And the quality side is what you were asking, the production, having a mic that isn't clipping and a video that is 720 or above, that's pretty much all you need to focus on there. But the authenticity, and I think the authenticity is really your voice, which you should work on immediately. And you can identify if that is true, inside. If you're making something that like makes you laugh or it makes you feel good when you're watching it, that should be your barometer. And then the consistency is, some type of publishing schedule, once a week, once a day, whatever it is. Have something that your audience that you're trying to build can expect from you.
The best camera is the one you have on you. So I started editing all my stuff on a piece of shit Sony Vaio with I can't remember what it was called, but it was like whatever Windows like video editor was available at the time. But it worked, you know, so they'll get super caught up, you know.
My first 15, 20 videos was an iPhone 4 with a construction light. And those are still my biggest videos. And people will even say, like, I wish you'd go back to the quality you did.
I think, yeah, if you want to know about lights, I've actually got a tutorial on how to build your own homemade keynote.
Don't plug your channel, Glenn.
No, seriously, I built a set for trade for beer guns as well when I was down in LA. They're really easy to do. And a set of keynote flows will cost you a couple grand if you buy them retail. And if you get the right parts from Home Depot and you know what bulbs to order off Amazon, you can do them for about $30 a month.
It like kicked the quality of our videos up like 800%.
Yeah.
Do you actually know when a video will go viral?
No.
I can smell it a mile away. I mean, it hasn't actually happened for me
The
yet.
videos that take the least amount of time always go viral. You know, the ones that you spend like a week or two on,
Nobody cares
they
about
hate
it.
it. Yeah, it's so weird.
Well, what's your video making process? What's the start, the first ingredients, and what do you add? How do you, and then what do you finish on? What's just A to B kind of thing?
It's different all the time.
All
the time for me. Video.
So you have no set.
No set.
Just an idea, and like kind of small things you want to talk about, but you also want to be sporadic, so you don't do like a full script. Yeah.
Sometimes I'll do scripts, or 2 scripts, or 3 scripts. I think that's one with that idea. A lot of it for me is, the first thing I want to think of is the video title. Is the title going to be interesting?
Yes.
And then I'll make a video about that title.
Another thumbnail.
Yeah.
Would you put a limit on how many hours you spend shooting video before you go to editing?
What?
Sometimes it can take forever. Sometimes it's an hour, and you do the video in an hour, you edit it in an hour, and then it's up. And then sometimes it's like, it just doesn't end. You're like, wow, I hate this. I'm just going to go get a job at McDonald's.
I've gone back mid-editing and had like another day and put on the same clothes I was wearing in that video because I messed up something. And I'm like, no!
And you'll learn to shave before every video, because if you got to do shots for the same video a few days later, and your facial hair isn't changing lengths, that's why you shave before every
That
video.
could be a cool
right?
effect, though. Like, what's going on with this guy's face?
Yeah, you learn. These are things you learn along the way.
Adam, a while ago, you were asked. Someone said, "Why do you think you have the authority to teach?"
Oh yeah.
And you talked about the teaching degree that you got. I was wondering why you decided to teach via Q&A and music theory on YouTube.
Oh, well, for me personally, I just love teaching, and like I definitely was teaching before YouTube. I like that's a big thing that I do, and that's what I was also doing. You know, teaching guitar lessons, teaching like how to play Wonderwall and whatever. But I then had the opportunity to like do a little bit more with it, and so that's I think that YouTube. I think education is a really big thing. If anybody is looking to teach for YouTube, there's so much market out there. I guess like there's definitely a lot of people who want to learn from YouTube, and there's definitely new and exciting ways of doing lessons. So yeah, I just like teaching.
So what gives you the authority?
I have a camera. Yeah, and I'd like to think that the stuff that I say is factual, and I think I like to think that it's factual.
But then it got me thinking, like, why would you do YouTube instead of a
university? Yeah, and when I respond to troll comments, it's always because there might be an element of truth to a troll, and like I go hard on like people who troll me, and which is fun. It's really great, and
So I think that's the best thing about YouTube is just going to learn stupid shit. Like how to sew. Well, that's not stupid. That's not stupid. Sewing is cool. But yeah, the authority comes from the people watching it, right? Like if you help anyone learn how to cook a soybean. That's that is the authority, right? The viewers give credence to your online YouTube. What do they call it when you're a teacher? Like your credentials. Yeah. So if anyone watches your how to do a thing video, that's your authority right there.
I mean, I've had professors be like, yeah, I use your videos. I'm like, what the fuck? Makes sense.
Actually, I have a question about like support-wise from like family and friends when you're first starting. Were they supportive or were they like?
Fuck no.
No. Great.
I tell my parents that I'm a porn star. I don't want them to know that I do YouTube.
That would be what percentage?
I think it's, for me, it's like, I mean, they were curious about it. They know, they're like, what, you dance and you post videos and you make money, like, this can't be a thing. It's always going to be, like, questionable about it, but then when you start, like, getting the fans, getting the income, and supporting yourself, they're like, oh,
Your parents are finally past the like, well, when are you gonna get a real job?
Yeah.
Once you're buying your parents flat screen TVs every Christmas, they stop.
How has being on YouTube affected your kind of process of writing just music for a record? Because I know you probably that's probably changed as you.
That is like a great question. There's like you have to make a choice with what you're doing if you're trying to do music, and because I've been trying to do both for a long time, and you're gonna get, if you do YouTube, you're gonna be seen as a YouTuber. Like no matter where you go, no matter what you do. When I'm touring, like with my band, everybody's like, oh yeah, that the music video you did was sick, but like that Rob Scallon video, like, wow, when are you gonna go on tour with him and stream Slayer songs? And I'm like, I've made a grave mistake. Like, so it's like anywhere you go, like I'll go anywhere in the world, and people are like, I know you from that. Like you're a YouTuber. You get branded as a YouTuber, and it's hard to walk away from that. Because I've tried to stop a couple times. These guys are like way more consistent than I am. I'll go 6 months without making a video because I'll be like, I want to be in a band and tour. I don't want to do YouTube anymore. Like I fluctuate all the time, and once you've like established yourself, if that's like where you started, that's like a thing you have to be willing to be recognized by and like tied to for the rest of your music career. Like it's very hard to get away from it if you've made any sort of success with it.
It's not necessarily a bad thing either, though.
No, it's not. You can get people to go to shows even if they don't care about your band because they like your YouTube videos. So I mean, yeah.
I can tell you that my songs have gotten a lot shorter.
Yeah.
Because you really get an idea of how long somebody's attention span is. And I think that's kind of indicative of our culture as a whole and not just YouTube. So it's like Glenn says, get to the fucking point.
Yeah, I find that it doesn't, when I write a song, or if I'm doing a record, because I've done TV and I keep it very separate. I don't give a fuck what my YouTuber audience is going to think. It's like, I want to do metalcore, I want to do deathcore, I want to do a fucking butt rock album. I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it how I want to.
Very underrated genre.
So for me, but mentally I have to so I'm in YouTube mode, I'm making YouTube videos, right? So then it's like, alright, these 2 weeks I'm not in YouTube mode, I'm in writing mode. You know, and then I'll work on that. And then, so I keep it very separate.
Were there any videos where you're like, you wanted to cut it and then you put it out and it just got huge?
Yes. Yeah.
You're just like, I'm not putting this up. And you're like,
most of my videos that are the biggest, I don't find funny at all.
The biggest video on my channel is a fidget spinner guitar pick video. And I literally didn't mean to make. I started filming. I was like, this will be funny, haha. And I made the video, and I was like, this is probably the worst video I've ever made. And I put that in the title. I said, warning, stupid. This is the stupid video. And it has like 3 million views. And I'm like, why? And it sounds like it's a terrible, terrible video. And that's what people see sometimes when they find me. I'm like, oh, I don't know if this is good or bad, but you live and learn, I guess.
I want a shirt that says warning, stupid.
How do you guys deal with people copy your video on their channel or on Facebook?
The band, there was a label, We Are Triumphant, and the band Trapped. We're basically downloading Jared and Rob's videos and copying them, rehosting them on Facebook, and this is before Facebook had some kind of a notice and takedown system. So I made a video and called them out, and it was great. What was really great was the singer from Trapped then tried filing a trademark dispute on YouTube with me because I dared use his band's logo, and I said, look, I made a rebuttal video to that. He got all kinds of unwanted publicity. It was great. But I said, look, trademark is there to keep me from taking your logo and putting it on something of mine and trying to sell it. And if we've all learned something, putting a trap logo on something is a guarantee it's not gonna fucking hated that band. Always.
I like them, fuck you. I think the bigger problem is Facebook encourages that sort of thing.
Yes. Yes, it does.
And do they? Well, I mean, by that point, it's already like...
Yep. By the time you get to it...
The poison has spread.
Yeah.
But it's super easy to just message somebody and be like, yo, like I have a nice template that's like very specifically worded to like scare people into taking their shit down. But a big thing is follow through. We've had to lawyer up on people, and not even go to court, but just like I need a legit lawyer, somebody with Esquire after their name, to like send an email. and there was a page called The Pit that was like re-uploading Jared's content, and I contacted the dude and I sent him like a really strongly worded message, and afterwards he was like, "Oh, I'm so sorry." Like he didn't even know what he was doing was wrong, and it turns out that page is like a subsidiary of Warner Bros. So now we work with Warner Brothers. So I think like there's a lot of good that can come out of people like ignorantly, accidentally like, stealing content, but it's super easy to just message them and be like, "Yo, you're in violation of this Copyright Act, blah 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 blah. Take this shit down or we'll sue you."
Can't you just report it on Facebook now too?
Yeah,
as like a copyright infringement, it's super easy. You're just like, this is mine. This is why this is mine, and then they pull it down.
Yeah, you can. You know, it's not even a bad thing. 9 times out of 10, what I'll do is just say, hey, you don't even need to take it down. Just re-edit it and put Jared Nines tag Facebook page in the description. We don't really even care because at the end of the day, it's all going to come. If they get whatever 10,000 likes, fuck it. But all that traffic's going to come back to the source.
Yeah, I feel like it's the uncredited stuff, and that uncredited stuff is all everywhere. But if you have it like above the tagline and linked to all the media of the actual thing.
Yeah. With that said, like even when Trent was doing that stuff with you guys, he was still putting your name in it. Like he wasn't like linking to you guys. And that's what it was just like.
Nobody went after him.
Yeah.
They let it went unchecked. I think until Tom did it.
Right, and the initial post was like, it was one of my videos, and it said, like this page for more videos like this.
Yeah.
Nothing to do with me. And I'm like, this is my video, it'd be like your page, you don't do this. Like, and then finally, after it got like 6 or 7 million views, I was like,
But now that dude has to promote his videos. So.
Yeah, like a month ago, he was like, yo, I'm gonna pay you to like promote my band. I was like, fuck you.
All the other how much is, I know it's probably not the same for all of you, but how much is your Instagram, your Snapchat, Facebook part of your YouTube promotion?
Very small for me.
It's
YouTube
big
is
for me.
definitely its own entity. Because all I do on like Facebook and Instagram is post memes. YouTube is definitely where my content is.
This could be wrong, but I think Instagram, honestly, it's the best option of redirecting.
Yeah.
It doesn't, it's the only, Twitter sucks. But Facebook chokes the shit out of your videos, so what we start doing is just re-uploading back to Facebook and kind of treating the Facebook as an entirely separate thing. Because if you post any type of link to YouTube without losing it, it's not going to go anywhere. Okay, for 1 million followers.
So because we have a WordPress blog that's kind of our main thing, we take our YouTube videos and embed them in a WordPress post, and then we put the post onto Facebook, and that does a lot better than just a straight up YouTube video posted in there. And then,
well, there's actually something that you guys should know about if you are serious about leveraging Facebook, because Facebook, like Tony said, it chokes out anything that isn't native Facebook content, but there are these things called instant articles, and essentially you embed some code in the top of your blog, and each blog, it pulls your RSS feed, and each blog post becomes a Facebook instant article. And I do like Trey does, where I'll put a little blurb and I'll embed my YouTube video in a blog post. That RSS feed is then pulled from Facebook instant articles, and you share that Facebook instant article, and it's a native Facebook post. But you don't have to leave the Facebook app to view a YouTube video. So it's basically like posting a picture or whatever, but it's native to Facebook. So that's a huge. Not a lot of people do that.
I didn't know about that. I just use a selfie. Like Facebook encourages selfies so much. Like if I post a link to a YouTube video, I'll get like 40 likes. If I post a selfie, I'll get like 3,000, and then I'll be like, I don't care about this, please click my video in the comments, and it'll blow up. It's like, if you tie them together well, there's like little tips and stuff, like with Instagram and otherwise.
I've noticed a lot of things like that too. Like I'll post a picture with a description, and then I'll take the description, I'll put the description in the picture, and you'll see like.
And you have to like avoid keywords and stuff. Like if you say link, like
And
I
link,
can't
yeah,
say, I
don't
put
click,
spaces,
yeah,
I'll be like L space, I space, N space, K, because Facebook is trash. There's like so many small ways around it. So if you can like, if you're not smart enough to do that, I'm not smart enough to do that. I'm just like, this is my face, and then like they'll go to where you want if you post it in the comments.
Well, hello there. I hope you are enjoying this pleasant Q&A conversation, roundtable discussion. I'd like to take a quick break to talk about the sponsor of the show, AudioBlocks. AudioBlocks is giving you a deal on a triple bundle, video, audio, and images for just $149. All the content is royalty-free, so you can use it for commercial and personal projects. New clips are added regularly, so there's always something fresh to download. And I think this fits in very nicely with the subject of this podcast, being a content creator. All of the things that you need to create content when it comes to royalty-free source material is contained in these massive libraries, so it's a great deal. I highly recommend it. Go to audioblocks.com/musiciswin to get all the stock video, audio, and images you can imagine for just one low price. That's AudioBlocks. audioblocks.com/musiciswin to save on millions of studio quality clips, tracks, and graphics. Now, back to the round table.
People undervalue diversifying your audience though too. So I think that like growing completely separate pages is like a really powerful tool as well. Because you'll see, YouTubers like SoFlo, who is a jackass, but like his Facebook page is gigantic, and that all translates back to things that it's not super easy to sell merch on YouTube, but it's very easy to sell merch on Facebook. So while we don't monetize any of those millions of users on Facebook, we've grown. I think we grew the page from like 90,000 likes to like 400,000 likes in 3 months. And we're piggybacking all of that traffic to go back to the things you can control, like album sales and merch sales, and things that are not super easy to sell on YouTube, with the exception of just saying, buy my merch, it's in the description. It's like a quieter way to like push your brand.
Yeah, I thought I read something about like YouTube was trying to kind of stop people from putting other platforms making money in their descriptions or something like that.
I don't know about that, but it wouldn't surprise me.
And like, is there any like censorship thing? Like, I don't know if this was a few years ago, they were trying to take down monetizing videos that had swearing in it. That's what I wanted to ask you guys.
Oh, they're still doing that. And they're still
that's
doing
what I wanted to do. I was like, Glenn, that's like a huge portion.
Okay, so it's behind the scenes stuff, because this is great. The adpocalypse happened, and then what's up? And then they started implementing a lot of machine learning, like a lot of deep AI stuff in terms of like what the AI is going to flag from the video. So no humans do it. You can't get in contact with any humans. Getting in contact with humans from YouTube doesn't happen.
There are no humans.
Okay, wait, no, because I wanted to follow up with you on this.
Yeah.
Did that ever pan out? It did not pan out. Did you get the call, the contact?
Yeah, so they pair you with a channel. Sometimes they pair you with a channel.
Like a consulate. Yeah, because I'm curious. I was curious earlier too.
They pair you with a channel consulate person who doesn't do anything. They just help you with your branding, I guess. But you can't get in contact when there's like actual stuff. So basically, there's this machine learning algorithm which they've implemented, which started flagging everything. And everything I uploaded was, no matter what, was flagged for not being suitable for advertisers. And I don't even swear, but I am a bass player, so maybe it was that. Yeah, I know. But it was crazy because they treat it very seriously. They're trying to make sure that advertisers don't go away, and they basically program this algorithm. Nobody can know too, because the technology of deep learning, the technology of machine learning, means that you can't actually understand how it's flagging, like why it's flagging. It's just being optimized for a certain thing, like optimized for being most family friendly, whatever that means. And so it checks out whatever your content is. There's content ID. It scans for swear words is one, but also things like Universal Music Group. I included that in my title. That immediately got like flagged for not being family friendly for some reason. Certain keywords weirdly just get flagged, and nobody.
Like, what is your creative process exactly? Do you just kind of like dick around on like whatever instrument and like, oh, that sounds good, or is there like more of a methodical way of going at it?
I haven't done this in a while, but sometimes I'll write a completely brand new song from scratch for the instrument or whatever, because like, for instance, I did a review of an 8-string guitar, and like I didn't have any songs for the 8-string, so I had to write a song on the 8-string, and then record it pretty well into Pro Tools, and then get somebody who's good at mixing and mastering to do that, and then I like sit down and film it like a pretty specific way, like because at this point I know what angles are gonna look good and what aren't. Like I go back and look at some of my old videos, and like the angles of me playing, like my feet are in them. It's like so wide that it's like my whole body instead of like a close up on the guitar, you know. Like stuff like that, so it's like pretty, like I can do it almost all of it myself because I know what's gonna work and what isn't just from screwing up so many times. You know, and then I have like a pretty specific way that I edit it, so it's not like that crazy, but that's just because when I'm doing this kind of video, that's what works. If it's something like either that's never been done before, or like something that's more spontaneous or crazy, like trying to plot it out or think of it in a methodical way will actually screw you up rather than make it easier. Like the way that I do it methodically is just to save me a bunch of time because I already know I don't have to wade through all this bullshit.
What about you, Steve?
What's going on?
What's your creative process in 30 seconds or less?
That's about all I need is 30 seconds. Yep. Essentially, just have a topic and just wing it, really. It doesn't matter how much extra crap I got in there, I can edit it the way I want to, and that's usually the best thing that works for me, so...
So do you have to monetize like every single video?
You can set up defaults.
You don't have to.
Yeah.
Anything.
Yeah.
But yeah,
it's
you have
probably a good idea.
You have
You can
a
tell your
default
channel.
upload.
You can just tell your channel monetize everything until they say don't.
Yeah.
Right.
You have to be kind of careful though, because if you're doing anything that could be a copyright infringement, you can get penalized for it. So that's why they give you the option on each video. Because if you're doing like any cover or anything, some you can get away with it. At least I've been able to. Some you can't, and it's like if you get penalized, they can like put suspension stuff on your channel or like.
Well, what they now have is they can like the copyright holder can take your monetization, and that's definitely happened for me. Like I have a weird fetish with All Star. They own the money making for a lot of my videos.
It is kind of intuitive though, I think, with the copyright thing, because I don't really do covers, but I've had a couple instances where I've made sort of covers, but there's not really a robot that could detect, you know, this is Enter Sandman because I'm playing it in a different style or something. But when it does happen, there's revenue sharing that is
where you'll
usually
get some.
a default thing that you don't even have to do anything. You just say, yeah, I want to monetize this, and they're like, it could be split, and you're like, whatever, because you don't really have another choice.
Of course, they don't tell you what the split is, but
it could be.
The robots are good though. I've like down-tuned and like played at different tempos and like used different instruments, and they're still like.
Robots are getting smarter.
Yeah, they're able to pick it up. They're like, this is this song.
The arrangement is
How did you
robots.
know that?
When you guys do a video with, like, when YouTube does a video, when you put it on your channel, for instance, how do you get the money from it? Is it the same that you're talking about, or does it all just go to you? And
whatever
your
channel.
It's a bro dap.
Yeah.
Like, thanks, bro.
Yeah.
High fives.
Yeah. This whole thing about collaboration, though, I'll be on one of his videos, he'll be on one of mine, and he gets the ad revenue for, yeah.
It pays off though.
Yeah.
Like you get like linked to, like I said, it intertwines all of the channels so that there's like a group of people that like if you click on somebody's, you'll see these 5 people almost every time because they collaborate. So, yeah, it's worth it.
So I know that YouTube and Google has like pretty powerful advertising engine. At what point did you start advertising, or do you advertise, and how?
I started when I had about what is it? Is it 10,000 views or? Wait, yeah.
Do you mean monetizing the videos or doing like Google SEO?
So your own personal advertising, like in terms of growing your channel,
Oh,
like
that's
how
easy.
much of it was organic and how much of it was actually
like paid ads?
Oh, paid ads.
Oh,
I don't do any
I don't
yeah,
do those.
no paid. I mean, like the whole system is designed to kind of advertise itself because that's in YouTube's interest to get people to see videos that are cool, so they will promote videos that are cool because then that gets them ad revenue. So it's kind of I feel like I've never done any sort of paid advertising whatsoever. I just
It's kind of hardly advertising.
Yep.
The best advertising you can do for your channel is collab with other YouTubers.
Yes.
That's a big one.
I've done
100%.
paid advertising.
Does it work?
It's super sweet.
Oh, that's pretty
Yeah. The thing about it is you can target an audience and decide on what type. So, you guys know what musician is?
Yep.
See?
I heard it's the best way to learn.
And master the guitar. So that's the type of advertising where I think it's too much, to where they've memed themselves. And I actually made a parody video of them. But I think I've done that same sort of pre-roll ad for guitar courses, and it's hugely successful. But I only shoot it out at certain points, so it's not like I'm gonna buy every guitar video and spend $20,000 a month on advertising. It's like, no, I have this targeted thing that I'm trying to promote this thing, but that involves kind of a knowledge of the SEO side of things. And it's called AdWords. So if you want to get into that, I think you have to have I don't think you have to have an AdWords account to have an AdSense account, but the two are in the same dashboard layout, and it's sort of like Facebook in that you can target an audience, figure out your budget, and yet it's different because it's Google, so there's a very deep rabbit hole you can go down. Really the most important thing is to have a strong first 4 seconds to whatever you're trying to advertise. But I've seen some bands just have their song as an ad. Just like, if you like this song, then people will watch it, and they're not necessarily doing anything except trying to get people back to their website. So you have to define your goals and have a strong piece of content behind it, but it is valuable for sure.
How have you guys considered transitioning into like live streaming? So like Twitch, YouTube, even Facebook.
Oh yeah, we were having
talked about this.
a long talk about that. The robot overlords really want us to live stream.
Yes.
You can't edit a live stream, and that makes us all very nervous.
Actually, I think that live streaming has made me really try to step up my game, because you can't edit anything. You can't. If you miss that note, it's there forever, unless you unlist the video. But it's really, I think, a cool way, especially for me personally, who I don't play live music very often. So that is a way for me to kind of interact with people and be accountable for my musicianship, which I think at the end of the day, that's still the most important thing to all of us, is to be masters of our craft as best we can. But from a business perspective, live streaming is incredibly important for certain niches. So I have products that I sell, and if I want to promote those in a natural way, in an interactive way, I can do that with live streaming. Whereas if I make a video promoting it, I feel like it's a little bit less, not as well
more
received.
like an advertisement.
Yeah,
They can tell.
yeah. So like with live streams, this is a really great strategy. Is I put up a computer, my laptop, in the background, and it just says what my deal is, and I don't even reference it the entire time. It's just like a sponsored block right there. But I make, I just jam the whole time, read people's questions, and if somebody says something, and like if I do reference it, I'll be like, it'll be a joke. So if somebody asks a question, I'll give an answer, and then I'll be like, or look at this screen, and then I'll just move along. So as natural as you can be. Live streaming is really like makes you brings out your natural self, I think. So that's why I like it.
I think it's invasive. They contacted me for Twitch Creative, and they're like, it's a cool thing. It's a super cool thing, but it's like, how much of yourself do you want to give to the internet? They're like, we want to watch your process for recording and writing, your painting or drawing, and people want to see the process. And like, I get that. Like, I want to see people's process. Like, I'm intrigued by that, but there's like a certain like solitude and like there's like a thing that happens when you're creating something that I think it's if you're sharing that, it's a performance more than a creation at that point. And like, where do you draw the line with like what you keep to yourself and what you're presenting to everybody else? Because there has to be a separation. When you blend the two, you go nuts. So it's like, I don't know, I don't want to do it. I'll end up doing it, I'm sure, because money, but I don't want to do it.
Yeah. For in terms of sponsorship, how does that kind of get started? Does it most of the time is the companies contacting you and asking you to promote their stuff? Or
Yeah. Well, that's you get a certain number and then you start.
That's how you want it to work. You don't want to be the one
you don't
going.
want to be asking.
That determines who gets to set the price.
Yeah.
If you go to them, they're gonna be like.
And I have probably had honestly more people walk away after starting an interaction if they've come to me. If you reach out to them and they respond, you at least know that they're interested. It's you may not make as much, but you're wasting a lot less of your own time. If you're like, hey, here's what we are, here's what we do. If you want to advertise, just write me back. And if they write you back, now you're playing ball. Whereas like if people message, I have people message me all the time, like, hey, I'm so-and-so from Alibaba Express. I'm like, oh, that company makes a lot of money. And they'll be like, please review this ukulele. And I'm like, great, here's our fee. Oh no, we were hoping we could just give you a ukulele.
Yeah, that's.
I'm like, well, let's see how much these are. Let's talk. And they're like $30 ukuleles. We will give you 100 ukuleles. What the fuck are we gonna do? That's a serious.
I don't know. That would be
That's
a good
ingredients
video.
for a great
Yeah, that's a great video.
Smashing. How fast can we smash 100 ukuleles? Viral video right there.
But then they have a way to
How many of you guys have like multiple income sources and how important is that?
YouTube is a good base because you can always come back to it. Like for me, when I'm jumping around or I'm on tour for 6 months, I know I can come back and make a video. And like, you will lose some subscribers and followers if you wait. That's why consistency is important. But there's always like, you can build it back up. Pretty much every time I've tried to do it, I've been able to build my audience back up and just keep growing my channel every time I come back to it.
I think the reason that's most important is because we're not all going to be at schools when we're. How old are you?
47.
You're like 47. We're not all going to be that cool, and I don't think kids.
You won't have this hair.
I don't think. What's that?
They don't have his hair.
Yeah. It's not as cool when you're like.
The official haircut of Dungeon Masters
to be making jokes. People don't want to see an old guy like, okay, Sonny, here we go.
I would love to see that.
Oh no, that's a new video.
And you'll get surpassed by the younger, hotter, cooler kids.
And this is definitely the case if you're a musician or in music at all. It doesn't matter if you're in YouTube or anything. I mean, before I did YouTube, that was I had a very diverse portfolio of income streams. So yeah.
But the opportunities grow on themselves. Like when you do a thing, you'll get an opportunity to do another thing, and by doing that thing, you get an opportunity to do another thing. So the more you just keep taking all those opportunities and doing those things, it helps you solidify a solid income. Just because the bigger that you get, the more people see you and the more opportunities you're going to get. And as you grow, that grows with you. So.
And just because if an opportunity creeps up and it's not what you expected, don't turn it
down. Yeah, take it. Take all of them.
The experience is really what you can trust moving forward from thing to thing, because we don't know where the internet is going to be in 10 or 20 years, but being an experienced person in the music industry, I'm pretty sure isn't going to go away in our lifetime. So if you become the best musician you can be and learn to do all these other things that we've been thrust into learning to do, then you will always have value in the community, and you'll always be able to work in music, which I think I can speak for all of us. I'm never going to, no matter what happens to online or whatever platforms we use, I'm never going to work in a store again or do something that isn't music related. And I think just working really hard while we can predict the next day is an important thing.
How do you balance your time, between YouTube and your...
It all blends into one beautiful maelstrom of chaos.
And then 10 years go by and you're like, holy shit.
So, well, that is a really good question, though. We should actually answer that.
Yeah.
I have no better answer
No,
than that.
that's what it is. It's just a blend.
I mean, YouTube is like, during the summer, my schedule might be like, I wake up at 9 a.m., I go to bed at midnight, whatever. If you're in the winter, I'm up till 5 a.m. and I sleep till 5 p.m. And it's just like having that, like, you're in your own world, kind of. You're doing your own job. You don't have a boss keeping you, like, on a schedule, and you have to find it yourself. And for me, I've always found that, like, whatever it is, do what you feel like doing at that time. So if you feel like staying up till 3 a.m. and then, like, you know, staying 3 days or whatever it is, like, do it. If you want to do a video a day, do it, whatever. And if you want to cut back a little bit, do it. Like, make your own schedule, but stay positive and stay, like, in that zone of, like, I'm happy, you know, I'm doing what works for me now. Because it might not work for you in 6 months.
Just listen to your body, man.
Yeah.
Your body will tell you when it's like, okay, I'm fucking sick of editing this. Like, you're not gonna be able to match up to this thing. Just go.
You know, there's many times where I'll go to Thanksgiving dinner and I haven't slept in 22 hours. I'm just like, hi mom, you know, just like, oh, you know, how's it going? You know?
So like, if you want to do YouTube for like a full-time job, like some of these cats do, they say that an entrepreneur, which is basically what we are, is somebody who's willing to work 80 hours a week to avoid working 40 hours a week, and that's pretty much it.
Give yourself the time you need. You don't have to do it 18 hours a day if you don't want to.
Yeah, that balance is super important. If you go too hard in the thing you're doing, you're gonna hate it. Like, you're gonna be like, wow, I love making music, and now I just hate it, and you're not gonna know what to do with yourself, because the one thing that you love doing, or like the 3 things you love doing, you hate. And then, like, it's just, like, not good mentally. I think you need to be a certain kind of person to even do this, because it's a weird thing to do, and it's, like, it's weird, it's weirdly demanding, and, like, you know, there's a fine line between, like, you know, the love and the passion, and then the destruction that comes from just doing that, like, too much. So you need to have those reality checks and those breaks.
Yeah. Going back to what Steve was saying about how you can't turn your like mind off of like
YouTube brain.
Sure.
Yeah.
YouTube brain. Do you have like strategies coping with that stress?
Alcohol.
No. Cry.
We cope with long hours, don't even.
It's like it becomes your normal.
I mean, you have to find your happy place. That sounds silly, right? But you do. Like, you have to know how to relax. You'll find it. You'll figure it out, you know, as you go. It's like, okay, I need a day to do this. Buy a hot tub, you know, I need to soak for a while, whatever it may be.
I think finding like a secondary passion is really important.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. I think the only thing I do more than working for Jared is play hockey.
If you look at any comment section, you got some of the best of humanity and definitely some of the worst of humanity. Like, do you just become like immune to it, or do you just read through and at the end of the day you're like, oh my god, these humans are terrible. I'm getting a cabin on an island somewhere.
You know what I find that's funny about that is that 95% of the people that will say the worst shit, like they could be like, fuck you, go die. And then I'll be like, well, I'm sorry you feel that way. They go, oh, I actually like you, dude.
The worst part is that there's no way to know. Because the only information you have is like a little screen name, a picture that's this big, and then this fucking terrible thing that they said about you. And you're like, are they having a bad day? Are they a fucking serial killer? You're like, there's no way there's this many serial killers.
Yeah. If someone's like, oh, you're fat and ugly, and you look at yourself, you're like, well, I'm not that ugly. I'm also not really that fat. It's okay. But like when they say something that like is too true.
It's like when you talk, your upper lip is too stiff.
Are you kidding me? Fucking Steve Jobs is sitting right behind me.
Tony said earlier, the demographic being 96% male, that's the big elephant for us. And even looking at the classroom here, you can see it's a similar vibe. Do you have any advice to the women in the crowd, or anything the guys should hear about?
Well, like, by and large, if you're pursuing music, YouTube is a little different than, like, being in a band. Like, there's way more to think about if you're doing band stuff than if you're doing YouTube stuff, because you're just kind of at... You can control a lot more of that, but, like, by and large, what you're doing isn't that different. The reception is a little bit different in that the internet will try to sexualize anything. that a woman does, ever. Like, I could wear a green suit that was just like, it could be a dude suit, and they'd be like, but her feet, you know what I mean? It's like, it's always the feet. Yeah, the internet's super weird, but it's
They
like...
can see your feet, it's all fucking over.
Yes, I've had people draw my feet and send me my feet. So you have to anticipate really weird things like that, like, or like people trying to buy your used underwear, or like people showing up at like shows and stuff that aren't totally mentally sound, and that you're just more at like of a physical threat than like, you know, a mental threat, or the internet saying, oh, you got tits, like, thanks. Sometimes it's like, so it's just like for like when I'm on tour, that's the only time I really run into like a difference being like, gender being like a defining thing, because like I've had like so much scary stuff happen on tour, whether I'm just like walking to the gas station to get food, or hanging out at the bar, having people try to do stuff at the bar, try to drug my drink, try to follow me in cars, try to come up to me after a show, try to get me in alleyways. So it's like, yeah, it's a thing that you have to think about, but like the actual art and the act of doing that doesn't really differ from what the guys have to do.
Is it kind of all like just trial and error for most of you guys, or do you guys have like formal or like background education in like advertising, marketing, SEO, or
Finished high school. Loaded.
I have a music degree. And
he gets the least views.
I am by far the low man on the totem pole, and I worked the hardest in school. Well, actually, Adam is probably the most educated guy on the...
But nothing related to actually what I'm doing right now. That's the other thing. It's like, I mean, I'm very thankful for my education, and it's great and whatever, but I didn't get any of the skills that I use in the day-to-day through education.
Well, what you guys are getting right now is more education than any of us have ever received.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Formal way.
In a formal
and I think
way.
like this is a very forward-thinking arrangement that is happening right now, and it's something that I anticipate will happen more frequently across higher education institutions. And definitely don't take anything for granted when you're in a place like this, because Adam went to Berkeley, I went to Berkeley. Where'd you go, Trey?
Berkeley. Just for a year though.
Anyways, it's easy, like looking back on it, seeing all the experiences that I've had now, and looking back on the experiences I had while I was in school. It's easy to go a day or a week or a month of kind of status quo, so to speak, whatever that is for you. But I just encourage you, in a place like this, it's so much fun to go maybe a little bit beyond your comfort zone, just to have those experiences in the bank, instead of, because you're never going to look back and be like, damn, I wish I got that extra 3 hours of sleep 3 years ago. But you will look back and be like, I'm so glad I did that thing for that extra 3 hours, because it can change the way things happen for you.
And that's going to wrap up this week's Music is Win podcast. I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you got a little inspiration or wisdom out of a lot of the answers that were given. I was talking to some of the YouTubers and some of the folks from OiArt, and I was telling them those kids just got more information about YouTube and about becoming a successful musician on the internet. They got more in that little 2 or 3 hour session than any of the YouTubers there have ever received. So now you guys know all that information as well, so I hope you use it wisely, and I hope it was a fun podcast to listen to. Of course, the Music is Win podcast drops every Monday, so we'll be back next week. But until then, keep shredding.